Besides, Perky, here's the deal. I know the Iowa Corn Cyhawk series is starting, but no matter who wins on the field, we all win when we choose unleaded 88, okay?
Chris Hassel. Two guys named Chris. Presented by Fareway Meat and Grocery. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Iowa Everywhere.
Channel Seed. Seedsmanship at work.
Welcome to Two Guys Named Chris here on Iowa Everywhere. My name is Chris Williams. I'm joined, as always, by Chris Hassel, who is in sunny Florida.
Hey,
beautiful
buddy.
day here, beautiful fall day in the great state of Iowa, and we have a lot to get to. This is going to be a loaded show. We have a bunch of good stuff planned for you guys. We are presented, as always, by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery. Of course, we are sitting here in the Channel Seed Studios. How are you, Christopher? What's up, brother?
I'm good. You know, I'm starting to make some adjustments. So many people are watching the video version of the show now.
Yeah.
I've gotten some feedback that video quality needs to be better. So I put in I put in my little webcam there. So I think my video quality is a little bit better. People are pissed because your camera focuses on your microphone and not your face. And I tried to explain to them it's because he wants the soft focus. If you focus on his face, then you start seeing the droopy eyes and the wrinkles and the blotches.
People
and all
are
that
like
kind of stuff.
pissed about this?
Yeah, real pissed. Yeah. So we need to start up in the game a little bit for video because so many people are coming over to this side of things.
Well, you know, there's also a setting that you can touch up your appearance and it really softens up those wrinkles.
I saw that. Let me put that on right now and let's see what kind of difference it makes. I'm going to touch up my appearance. All right, tell me what
Kinda
this
looks
is
like an
what
anime
15,
character.
20 years of independent media does to
Can
you.
you tell? I'm touched
my
up now.
God.
It kind
You
of
look
blurs
horrible.
your face.
You look
like
terrible like that.
Blurs it.
You look like you're in a cartoon.
Oh, what's that one? What is it? Oh, sucky. What's that? That thing that we did. We made fun of last year on or not? Last
The
month.
TikTok trend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, give me the hot dog. Oh, yum nom 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 nom
Daddy,
nom
not the
nom
hot
nom
dog.
nom nom nom.
Yeah. Turn that thing off.
All right,
You look
yeah,
like
yeah.
a Instagram model.
Glizzies.
Instagram model, Glizzies.
There you go.
Oh, Glizzy McGuire. It's off. I turned it off.
What a day for media at Iowa and Iowa State. We had Iowa players getting public reprimands.
Yeah, usually it's like those days when I covered it anyway, there was nothing ever going on. Like I had to drum shit up to make it interesting. I had to ask really dumb questions to make it
why
interesting.
everybody
This
hated
week, yeah, exactly. This week's a little different story. Nico Ragaini. So I guess if people don't know, and they most of them do, but since we don't have to censor our stuff, so Matt, you want to play what
Yeah,
he
we can
said
drop an
originally?
Was it pass interference? Yeah, you know what? I mean, I feel like what's the NCAA or Big Ten going to find me if I say that's a horseshit fucking call or what? Yeah, I don't know. I probably shouldn't have dropped the F-bomb in there, but goddamn, oh, Jesus.
But I loved how he's like, but goddamn though, Jesus. After
But
he
goddamn, though,
apologized.
Jesus fucking Christ.
And then the
man.
best part is the reporter, I don't know who it was, it says, "Oh, I wasn't recording on that. We won't
Yeah.
use that."
Oh,
And the TV
worry,
cameras are
Nico.
all there.
Don't worry, we won't use that. Yeah, speak for yourself.
Hey, question. When the players inevitably are going to be paid, like not through these collectives, but at some point they're going to be employees, can you fine a college player? Like you can like an NFL quarterback?
If they're going to be employees, yeah, I think they will be able to. But right now you can't. And he knew that. I mean, he's
Yeah.
smart.
What are they
Smart
going to
kid.
do,
He knew.
fine me?
Now, maybe Kirk Ferentz doesn't make him available to the media as much as he would have been, but does he?
I
does
can't
he really
imagine
care
he's
about
got
that?
a bunch of NIL deals that he needs to be out there for. I mean,
Right. So
if you want an NIL deal, don't be an Iowa wide receiver. Okay.
So
Like,
the Big Ten does not fine him. They give him a public reprimand. What is that? What is a public?
No,
you
we're very
should not
experienced.
have done that.
We're very experienced with the public reprimands over here at Iowa State. We get them all the time
For storming the field.
Yeah, that type of stuff. Yeah, and then Pollard's gotten a bunch. Yeah, for like mouthing off after the games. Yeah, public reprimands, baby. It's hilarious. Like, we made those shirts mocking Dana Holgerson and made a killing on those things.
Unprofessional fans.
Yeah, the whole publicly reprimanded. We made a bunch of publicly reprimanded shirts that went flying off the shelves.
But is there a next level? Like, if you like, the first step is a public reprimand. The second step is what? Like, if Nico goes back out there on Monday and he's like, "Hey guys, I just gotta say this. It was a horseshit fucking call. I'm not gonna back down. It was. I'm sorry." Is there a next level to this? Like,
I don't think so.
Can they suspend him if they've already reprimanded?
I mean, I guess it's possible. I don't think there's like a hierarchy of how that goes. So it's stupid. Basically, it's just them acting like they're punishing somebody when they're really not. Yeah. Okay. So then we had Kade McNamara. You got to hear what Kade. So like personally, and I'm as immature as anybody. I didn't even think this was that funny until I start watching everybody's reaction to it. Let's see what Kade McNamara had to say.
I think, our level of communication up front and the backs, and, really everyone just being on the same page, because we know these guys are going to come a lot. I mean, there's that was
Wow, Van Wink comparing him with Butthead.
That wasn't part of the press conference? I thought
So the funniest thing about it was his own reaction to it.
Yeah, because nobody else, I don't think, would have reacted unless he did.
No, it's just one of those things that, okay, kind of funny. Move on. But he just instantly, I don't know if he made eye contact with someone in the, that was sitting in there that was kind of smiling, and then he realized, oh my God, okay, I just said they're going to come a lot. But I thought it was funny the way he just kind of owned it,
What a classless program. You got guys using the Lord's name in vain, dropping F-bombs. We have ejaculation jokes by the all-star quarterback. What is going on over there?
It's the price you pay for winning games, William. We sell our soul to the devil so that we can win 9-10 games a year.
Can't beat a good ejaculation joke, right? I mean,
the old ejacula joke.
You want to get the crowd going? Let's talk about ejaculating, Kade McNamara.
Well, on the last show, I talked about some dude having an eye socket ejaculation in the elevator.
Yeah.
And he was,
maybe this is like the new meat box.
Portnoy and Big Cat. The new meat box.
So let's get into these games a little bit. Okay. We have one other piece of Iowa news to get up to snuff with. The Noah Shannon punishment. He is out for the year. We learned that. A lot of backlash to this. I've kind of thought this whole time that a lot of these guys were going to get maybe something that they totally didn't deserve. Noah Shannon wins a lot of points in my book, just how he's been so open about this and how Iowa's put him out there and let him talk. And I really respect the way Kirk Ferentz, and again, this comes with age, just standing up for his guy. Like I really, really appreciate that here. And the hard part, Chris, at least for me, is that all of these things, and I know you've read them and I've read them with all the Iowa and Iowa State guys who have been punished here. They're all different. Every individual has a different situation here. So you can't, like, I've seen a lot of people like responding to these comments that the Shannon punishment doesn't fit the crime. Well, these idiots know they're not supposed to bet on the games, but it's different. Like, Shannon didn't bet on his team. Like Jake Rimsberg, who only got 6 games for Iowa State. He'll be back after 6 games. It's like he was betting on like stuff that was totally irrelevant to any of this. Does he know he's not
only
supposed...
did Shannon not bet on his team, he didn't even bet on college football.
Correct. That's the same as Rimsberg's deal. Like, but his number was just lower than Shannon's, and that's why. Or whatever.
Remember when that first came out, and we did a show right after news got out that they were going to have these tiers of punishments. Like if you bet this amount, it's going to be this amount of games. But if you bet $500 more than that, it's going to be 3 more games. And I said, that's ridiculous. Like there should not be a tier level. It doesn't matter how much you bet. It really doesn't to me. And if you are going to tier it like that, it should be like one tier is from $1 all the way up to like $100,000. I mean, it's come on. Who cares if he bet? Let's just say that maybe he went like $1,000 over the threshold and that ended his career. He wasn't even betting on college football games. That's BS.
These guys are all making money now.
He should be. He should have gotten a suspension. I'm fine with him. Suspend him for a couple games, but a whole season and then that's it for his career. That's too much. It's too bad. I just wonder. I'm still surprised that Kirk Ferentz was going to take him to Big Ten Media Days. I'm still surprised that he had him as one of the guys at Iowa Media Days. Do you think Kirk Ferentz really thought he was going to play this season? He was that far off on what he thought the punishment was going to be?
Or he was just trying to make a point. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're kind of at that stage with Ferentz where I just feel like I just think his level of shits given is very small now. But I don't know. It seemed weird, though, how that all played out. I'm guessing that I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
And he self-reported as well.
Yeah.
Like, what's in it for anybody to say, you know what, I did it?
And yet, still, the state of Iowa is the only state in the country.
And I think it's going to stay that way, Williams.
Jeez.
And I'd be...
What a joke. You know who's going after their asses is this Inyi Wazirike's lawyer. Have you been reading the stuff coming from this guy?
Is he the one that's going after them for only targeting like certain
entrapment
teams?
Type stuff? Yeah.
So that's what really upsets me too. Is like you're only going after these high level visible programs.
Yeah.
Like,
why didn't they put it around Iowa State's golf facility, which is like
the
3 miles away from campus? Yeah. Like
it's only the highest level, the highest visibility, the biggest bang for your buck.
If they wanted to find underage gamblers, why didn't they go down to Grandview? Those kids are 2 minutes from a casino. Like for real. Like they just went after the biggest dogs.
Do you think we're ever going to hear how this all started?
I mean, I've heard what I believe to be true. I'll be as responsible here as I can. But
I'm not just saying how it all started, but like how they decided to put specific parameters in place and why they didn't care about these other teams.
I don't know. If it goes to court and it appears to be, I think what it's setting up for is Wazirike's lawyer setting him up for his losses in the NFL potential earnings. And that's going to be a really big court case if it gets to that. Because the state will have to say why if it comes down to that. So, yeah, if you're wanting answers, I guess we're rooting for that to go all the way to court. And I'm guessing it will. Like I'm reading these Wazirike lawyer pieces, and it's like, this guy's not screwing around. Like, he's coming after them. And it won't surprise me if it sets up to put some race in there and like.
Look, I say good because I just want to know. Even if it comes out where, okay, the DCI and the state of Iowa, they did everything right. I'm fine with that too. I would just love an explanation. I would love to know why this only happened in certain programs at certain universities in Iowa. And I don't think this is going to happen elsewhere. You think that nobody wants this on them. And also, after all of the publicity that this got, I bet this cut gambling on other, let's just say, football teams. I bet it cut it by 95%.
Totally agree. They're all scared now. And the other thing that Iowa did that it's like, okay, so let's say throw a state out there where gambling's legal. Kansas is now going to, or Missouri, whichever one is legal in. I think it's Kansas. They're going to investigate now. Will they go back 3 years like Iowa did, or 4 years, or whatever it was? Or are they just going to put a geofence around to see if it's happening now? Because if it's just now, like you just said, most of these guys have stopped because they've taken a message from the state of Iowa, right? Now we'll go back 3 years, and I think it's going to tell a completely different story. So
and then you can then start adding up all the money they spent.
Yes.
And then because of these guidelines for punishment, you have a guy that maybe should have only missed a couple games, and he has to miss the whole year.
Two guys named Chris. We are in the Channel Seed Studios, presented as always by our friends at Fareway Meat and Grocery. Iowa State. Let's hear from John Haycock and Matt Campbell. I know what they're doing here, but I also know why Iowa fans are sensitive. Matt Campbell on this Rourke kid, the quarterback from Ohio.
And then they got a great quarterback. It'll be the best quarterback we've played against so far this football season, and one of the best quarterbacks we've seen in a long time. He's tough.
It'll be a tremendous challenge for us. It'll be probably as steep a challenge as we've played to this point on our side of the football, looking at the veterans they have on offense, what they do on offense schematically, and then I think the quarterback's as good as anybody we've played to this point for sure.
Now keep in mind, before you Iowa
make
fans,
your excuses, Williams.
Before you Iowa fans get all amped up.
Oh, it's already happened, brother.
Remember back when Kansas was 0-12 every year, and Campbell
you really
would build
think
them
this
up
is
to be
an instance where he needs to psych the guys up?
No,
It's
just think
basically
this is how he
pick 'em
talks
on the road after a loss. You don't need.
No, it has nothing to do with his team. He does this all the time. How many freaking times can this guy say, well, this is the best quarterback we played? He says it every freaking week, dude.
But how does he not know that that's also a slight at
Oh,
the
it
team
absolutely
they just
is.
played?
And if I'm an Iowa fan, I'm like, Jesus, I'm rolling my eyes. It looks terrible. I don't disagree. If Matt Campbell went up to that press conference and said, I'm going to take a shot at Iowa and I'm going to piss them off, that's really petty. And I'm going
to tell you guys, this is the best team we've faced to this point this season.
Keith and Andy did a great bit. This was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And I was jealous because I didn't pull it off on my show. Kansas was they hadn't won a game in 20 straight games. And Murph and I'm sure it was Andrew Downs spliced together this audio of Campbell making them sound like the 85 fucking Bears.
Mm-hmm.
It's just what he does. It's not. I get it. If I'm an Iowa fan, I'm like, yeah. But if you follow Campbell in these stupid press conferences, I don't even know why Matt has press conferences anymore. I mean, I'm glad he does. I wish they'd do more of them. But this is just what he does.
I looked at some of the numbers too to see if is Ohio just this world beater on offense. Yeah, this is the best. This is the best offensive unit we've seen this year. This is the best quarterback we've seen.
Well, they're better than Iowa.
It's close. 13 points at San Diego State. 27 points against Long Island.
Now, they didn't have their quarterback either of those games.
17 points at FAU, Florida Atlantic.
Hey, I watched that game twice. That's one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life. Your Owls? Holy crap.
They are 94th in the country in yards per game, 117th in scoring. They are behind Iowa in scoring.
Jesus. Well,
and they played Long Island.
I mean, schematically, though, what they do, it spreads you out.
I will say this.
Coaches lie, Hassel. They
Rourke,
lie.
We saw him get hurt week 0 against San Diego State. If he doesn't get hurt, they probably win that game. They're probably 3-0. He had really good numbers last year. He
Wasn't
does
he
have
the MAC Player of the Year
potential. I don't know if he was Player of the Year, but he had to be up there because he threw for 3,200 yards. He had 25 touchdowns, just 4 interceptions. Came back against FAU, and they came back and won that game. And he is going to be the quarterback this week. What's that line at right now?
He's a good player.
What's the line at? Iowa State's still
it was
what,
3.5
point favorite?
Let me
it's
pull
3.5.
All the money's on Iowa State.
Did you see the percentage of bets? I can't remember what.
It was like
98%
Iowa State at one point.
I saw it was 92%. 92% of the money on Iowa State. Looks like Van Wink has
three
it
is the number
3.
Now. It's at 3,
which is interesting because all of that money on Iowa State, 92% of it from when I saw it, and it went from 3.5 to 3. What's that tell you?
It tells you there's a sharp that's betting on Ohio. Yeah.
So I'm gonna zoom into my kitchen refresh here, where I give my take on Iowa State. Our
real quick kitchen refresh Iowa.com. You saw the pre-roll rolling in the month of September. That lovely couple, and they saved 75% on refreshing their kitchen with our friends from
Have they started on yours yet?
No, I think that's starting later in the fall. Kitchen refresh Iowa.com.
I need to get those guys over to my place. We have we moved into a new house.
You have a new house.
Ago. Yeah, but the kitchen's just like a blank slate. It's just white. I think I need some refresh.
I'm glad you fixed your mic, Van Wink. My God.
You're welcome.
That really threw that the show went to completely off the rails last week when Van Wink came in whispering.
Oh yeah, Brock Purdy. I want to have his baby.
So here is my kitchen.
Brock Purdy's gonna come all over the Raiders this weekend.
Jesus Christ. This is gonna sound like hyperbole.
Not from you.
I think that this might be the most important game for Matt Campbell in his Iowa State career. I'm not saying biggest. He's had much bigger games, okay? Much bigger games. But I think this might be the biggest because of what it would mean if they lose. Not if they win.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
If they lose. If you go to a MAC school and you lose after the performance they had against Iowa, fans are pissed off about the clock management and some of the things he said. I think this is where we could see the tide starting to turn a little bit if they lose this game at Ohio. And this is a tough game. Like, this is not easy. Look, Pollard did him no favors scheduling this game at Ohio because they're not going to get a lot of praise if they win. But if they lose, Williams, what's the fan reaction going to be if they lose this game?
Oh, it's red alert, man.
For the first time in the Campbell era.
Yeah, it's red alert.
And that is why I say this is the most important game of the Matt Campbell era.
Man, I don't hate that take. I see where you're going. It is hyperbolic, but I totally understand your point. And I just did an hour-long podcast with Bloom yesterday for Cyclone Fanatic about how this is the most terrifying game I can remember in a really long time because I could see them going and winning by 20, and then I could see this heartbreak at the end as well, and then just having to shut down the Cyclone Fanatic server for a few days, which we wouldn't do, but it's a joke. So yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. Let me give you my kitchen refresh take on the Hawks. Kind of a different vibe here. Look at me, Iowa fans. Nothing short of losing to Western Michigan, which you won't, 28-point favorite, whatever it is now. Nothing else matters this weekend at all. Nothing matters other than Kade McNamara not getting touched, getting out of this game, because we heard him talk. He looked healthier. He's laughing. He's talking about ejaculation. We have all this positive stuff coming from Iowa.
First time he has been 100% at practice.
Yes, and you got out of that game in Ames, which you knew would be tough. You get out of there with the win. You're looking at the rest of this Big Ten schedule. Do not call into Ross and Travis on Sound Off losing your goddamn minds if you only score 24 points in this game. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. The Brian Ferentz little thingamajig going up the mountain. It doesn't matter. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is Kade McNamara not getting touched in this game, getting out of there with a win. You buckle in, and you got a massive game coming up next week. That's the only thing that matters. Do not worry about your stats, period.
I disagree, because if that's the case, then they should just sit him, right?
Well,
all that matters is
Deacon Hill good enough? Is he good enough?
What do you mean?
Is Deacon Hill good enough to play
to beat Western Michigan?
I don't know.
Yes.
Is he?
I mean, yes. It has to. Didn't Western Michigan gave up like 40+ points in one half last week? Didn't they?
Yeah, they're terrible. So just get out there. Like, fine, play the first half. Like, I would like to see your running game get going a little bit. That's the one thing.
So there are things that I want to see, and I want to see some cohesion on offense. I want to see them be able to run the ball a little bit. I want to see McNamara hit a couple deep shots, because
you have more faith in your offense than I do.
Penn State is next week, Williams.
You're not gonna. I don't think you're gonna.
You're not gonna just flip the switch against Penn State next week.
I think you have a better chance
this week
to beat Penn State by making it ugly and doing what Ferentz has done for 20 years than you do going out there and trying slinging it all over the field.
Well, God, I'm not saying go out there and sling it all over the place against them. Yes, even if they do complete some passes and score some touchdowns against Penn State, it's still going to be ugly if they're going to win. But we need to see a little something. We need to see some success on offense to get that unit feeling better about itself going into Penn State. Is there a look-ahead line for that game? Is that a double-digit line?
I haven't seen it.
What would you put that Penn State line at right now?
It's 9.5, 10.
Yeah, I was going to go because I was going
to
go
power ratings.
Scores,
I was actually really looking into power ratings this week because I was curious as to why the Iowa State-Ohio line was as close as it was. Mm-hmm. Iowa's in the 40s as far as their power ratings go,
and Penn State is top 10.
Yeah, so it's not going to be that close unless they would lose at Illinois, which I don't think that they will. But I was shocked to see how low Iowa actually is in power ratings this year. Now, a lot of that plays into last year, too, so that offense is, it can get skewed.
But what have they done? They've beaten Utah State by 10 and an Iowa State team that won 4 games.
Yeah, with a defensive touchdown, too, so the offensive rating didn't have a chance to really move because you really didn't play that well offensively against Iowa State. So, it's the same as Iowa State, just at a better, Iowa State's defense is top 10 in these things, but its offense is so bad that it brings down the entire rating. That's what Iowa's experiencing.
And yes, we know they're 2-0. Yes, we know they're going to be 3-0. And some fans, that's good enough for. But that is not what this season was all about. They brought in Kade McNamara so that they could compete in these big games against the best teams in this conference, and Iowa only has one of them.
This is a look-ahead game.
It's at
Winkle
Penn State
found it
next week.
10.5 is the look-ahead line.
10.5. Wow.
For Iowa, Penn State. In fact, another sports
anytime
book,
I'm getting 2 scores with Iowa, I'm going to take it just because they rarely get blown out. Now, the last couple years, they have in some instances just because of how bad the offense has been, because they've had Spencer Petras. But that sounds about right. I put it at 8.5, 9. And you said, that's right what you said, 10.5.
Yeah. One sports book has it at 13.5.
And isn't it surprising that, going into the season, wouldn't you have thought this line would have been 5?
No.
6?
I would put it over a touchdown but yeah, I mean,
not with
I
the expectations for Kade McNamara in the offense.
I guess
if Iowa goes out and puts up 45 points against Utah State,
we just have
35
different
against
levels
Iowa State, it's going to be different.
My offensive expectations for Iowa are never going to match yours. The personnel only matters so much. Can you get to 99th like you've been saying with these guys? Absolutely. But as long as they're playing that scheme and that style, you're not going to be that good. It's just the truth.
All we're asking for is 99th, God damn it. 99 out of 133.
When you say expectations, it's like, well, what are the expectations then?
You remember what the expectations were for Iowa fans coming into this season. You saw all the press clippings. This team, Tom Fornelli at CBS had them averaging 31 points a game.
Well,
I said they'd average 30.
He clearly doesn't watch much Iowa scheme on offense because they I don't know. I mean, look at you got these sexy wide receivers. You're not even throwing to them.
Well,
you know what? That was my point the entire offseason. It's like, yeah, these guys are really talented, but are you going to get them the ball in space?
Well, here's part of the problem. Part of the problem, no, it's not just part of it. It's a big problem. Is McNamara got hurt, missed a bunch of practice, is gimpy, so Ferentz don't trust him to avoid the pressure, so they want him to get that ball out as fast as possible.
No
bootlegs.
There's
not time to develop the routes. And I think we're going to be sitting here again. We're going to be sitting here at the end of the year, Williams. Iowa's going to be 10-2, and we're going to be pissed.
You guys are nuts. Pissed. You guys are insane.
Look at the fucking schedule, man.
No, I think you'll be 10-2 with this schedule. I think you're insane for being mad about being 10-2. That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying, look at the schedule. What
you should be. Your favorite every game the rest of the way except next week.
But
I'm telling you,
it's not just a 10-win season. You say, "Oh, great."
Chris, did you listen to my podcast with John Miller this week? I would love for you to listen to it and give me some feedback. We talked about in this new Big Ten
watching the Goonies.
No, that was just a smidge. That was just a teeny tiny bit of it.
Don't watch it, by the way. It's terrible.
I'll never watch that movie. It looks horrible. I've seen the clips. I want no part of that movie.
It's really bad. I was really surprised because everybody, like Miller's age, kept talking about how great it was. There was this ESPN coordinating producer. He's like, it's one of the greatest movies of all time. You have to watch it. So I went home and I watched it. This is 5 or 6 years ago. And I was like, what the hell is this? This is a kid's show. If you don't watch it as a kid, if you didn't see it as a kid, don't watch it as an adult because you're not going to like it.
I think it's one of those deals where, like, oftentimes I'll show my daughters a movie from the 90s and be like, oh, my God, this is the greatest thing ever. Mm-hmm. And, like, they've grown up with all this incredible, like, 3D animation and, all this. And they're like, Dad, this movie sucks. And they'll just tell me that right off the bat. All right, real quick, we're going to move on to everything else.
You were going to tell me, did you listen to the
the show? I'd love for you to listen to it, maybe on your flight to Morgantown. Because I challenged him, and we had a really good conversation. There was no trolling, nothing like that. It was really serious talks about Iowa football going forward in the new Big Ten. And I make the point that your best way to win going forward when you're not in this shitty Big Ten West every year is to do exactly what you're doing and be an alternative from what everybody else is doing.
Because you'll be more of an anomaly?
Yeah, like Lincoln Riley. Do you think Lincoln Riley would be more scared of Iowa and Wisconsin playing the way they have for the last 10 years, or Iowa trying to do exactly what everyone else is doing with athletes that aren't as good?
Yeah.
Because you're never going to recruit at their level.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, I want to thank our friends at Channel Seed.
Wait. I've got a bone to pick with you.
What?
Every time you do a podcast with somebody else, you run to Twitter and you're like, guys, I just hit publish on perhaps the greatest podcast I've ever done. Me and John Miller.
Shut up. You're so sensitive.
And Brent Bloom. And whenever we get done doing our show, if you even do post about it, it's just like, two guys named Chris is up.
You are so
You do that
sensitive.
all the time. You do it all the time.
Do you realize, Chris,
you're like,
that
I enjoy doing podcasts with John Miller so much. Oh, my God. It's just the greatest.
Do you realize that I talk to you more than any other human on the planet?
Yeah, I think I might talk to you more than any other human on the planet.
Shut up.
It's 2 hours a week, but you don't talk me up.
I'll start talking you up, okay?
No, I don't want you to lie about it. It's just really funny. Ben Wink, have you noticed that? Have you noticed that?
How about you just give us a shout out on Saturday night? Then we'll know.
The backyard
you
brawl.
really care about us, yeah.
I almost did in the Texas-Alabama game. I almost did because Golick was promoting his podcast with his dad, I almost jumped in. And if you happen to be a fan of the state of Iowa, tune in to Two Guys Named Chris, Mondays and Thursdays, 8:30 Central Time.
Really quick, I was up in Grand Junction, Iowa this week with our friends from Channel Seeds.
Yeah, you were getting down and dirty with those guys up there, huh?
Yeah, so this is actually a really cool piece we've been working on, and I just wanted to show everybody like a 1.5-minute clip from it.
Oh.
Because I think it's going to turn out really well. It's not really sports related, but it's just a big general look at the state of Iowa that I'm working on with Channel Seed. Here's a little clip from it.
All right, so it's calving season.
Yeah.
You're out there. Are you out in the fields?
No, in the buildings. We calve in the early spring. So you bring them up out of the mud and you get them in these buildings to calve.
Okay, so you're doing what do you do with the placenta after it falls out of the mommy?
Well, it's just really who can get to it first, really. I mean, she's had the baby. She's cleaning it off. The placenta can shoot out at any time.
Like and then when it shoots out?
Well, it'll fall out. Depends on how old the cow is.
Okay. So the older the cow is,
it'll just come right out.
Plops right out of there.
When that thing hits the ground, it's steaming. And the other cows, the neighboring cows in this pen will come over and they'll help eat it. But they got to get rid of it fast because the smell of it will go like 10 miles. And the coyotes can smell it and they'll come in. And when they find that, they'll find the baby calf. It's nature, I guess.
So let me get this straight. So the steaming placenta is on the ground.
Hot steaming.
And there's like multiple dad cows.
No, mama cows.
Oh, they're eating the placentas?
The mama cows. The dad cows aren't there.
They don't, oh, okay.
No, they've already done their job. They're gone.
Okay. So you've got like 5 cows that are fighting over a placenta.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, a coyote will just come in and just break up the whole thing.
If they don't get rid of the placenta in time, the smell will attract more coyotes. But actually, we had a cow calve the other day, late. I don't know, she got off cycle. And I was lucky enough to grab some placenta. I had to fight off 3 bobcats and 2 coyotes, but I got it. And I actually brought some here if you want some. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
That's good, right?
Right there.
Yeah, so that was up in Grand Junction.
I was not expecting that. I thought it was going to be like, hey, Chris Williams out here. We're in the fields with Channel Seedsman Derek Grinder. Derek, tell us how you plant these Channel Seed seeds in here so we get some nice corn. That was incredible. Who was that?
That's my guy, Dustin Fouch. He's the man. He's incredible. So I did do a sit down with him on like agriculture in Iowa that people will be able to listen to, but yeah, we decided to go up to his bar and do a little outtake for you, buddy.
Actually, the last time yesterday we had this calf. I was able to get to the placenta first, and I brought some for us tonight. Oh, cheers, brother. Cheers. Steaming placenta for dinner. God, that is on brand for Two Guys Named Chris right there. We're not just eating human placenta. We're eating cow placenta.
So then Dustin yesterday, and Matt said that we could not play it on the show. He sent me a YouTube video of a cow eating a placenta.
What did it
and
look
Matt
like?
said it's too disgusting for the...
Well, because Matt was probably like, oh, that looks just like me when I ate the placenta that came out of my wife.
Just scarfing that thing down.
It's like when David Hasselhoff got filmed eating hamburgers in the middle of the night.
Let's get to our...
That was wow. That was high. That was high comedy, Williams. Nicely done.
Just trying to follow in your footsteps. Because Chris Hassel is the most creative and funniest human that I've ever had the opportunity to work with, and I love him so much.
The next thing that's going to show up on Hassel's doorstep is a box of steaming hot.
It's going to be a Fareway meat box, and it's just going to have a cow placenta in it.
He's a riot. I had to do like 4 takes with him because every time we were doing, he would just add something, and like I was having a hard time of like not laughing because he's so freaking good at that. So yeah, shout out to my guy Dustin.
God, that was funny.
Let's do our top 3 games of the weekend, which is tough because it's not a great weekend in college football.
Is this the worst weekend in memory? Like going into it,
pretty bad.
Just looking at the matchups, I cannot remember a weekend that was this bad matchup-wise. Now, I will preface that. Well, I guess I can't preface that because I already said it. But I will say there's a little bit of a caveat because oftentimes when you get weekends like this, it sets up as a weekend for major upsets. Somebody out there is going to get upset. It's going to happen. And it might be more than one. Always happens.
Where do you see it coming?
You don't
I'd
see
be
it
really
coming. That's the key. You don't see it coming. I mean, you look at these spreads like Georgia is playing South Carolina. They're a 4-touchdown favorite. I saw South Carolina firsthand. There's just no way. But Georgia hasn't played anybody with a pulse yet.
You know, Georgia doesn't play a ranked team until like November.
Jeez.
The SEC
Georgia,
is down.
Georgia has a soft ass schedule, like as soft as it can possibly be. They backed out of that Oklahoma game this year because Oklahoma's coming to the Big 12. I mean, it could be, maybe it's Penn State tripping up at Illinois, which I would hate that for Iowa.
No, you don't want that.
Maybe Boston College gives Florida State a game. Who else?
I actually thought about putting that on my top 3 because it's like if Florida State's for real, like a lot of people think, like this is kind of a statement type. Just go up there and kick the shit out of them, and don't let that be the case.
Maybe Colorado gets upset by Colorado State. I don't know. So something crazy is going to happen. Anywho, do you want to start with your top 3?
Yeah, I'll start with mine. I actually think that not the wrong team is favored here, but South Alabama, one of your old Conference USA schools, is really good.
No. Nope.
Sunbelt.
Sunbelt.
I'm sorry. Regardless.
Wow, I just saw somebody get banned from our comments in real time. Matty Van Wink just banned someone from the comments.
He doesn't mess around.
Talk trash about our sponsors.
Yeah, I agree.
About our sponsors? Oh, nobody talks. The only person that gets to talk trash about our sponsors is me. And that's it.
Damn right.
South Alabama is a 7-point underdog at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State had a really great win. I watched it last week. I stayed up until about 1 o'clock in the morning watching them in Arizona State. They're still playing like 3 quarterbacks. Hassel, you know the stability ratings I tell you about a lot. South Alabama is one of the most stable teams in college football. They're probably a 9 or a 10 win team this year. I think they're one of those teams in bowl season where we're talking like they had a really good year. This is a high upset alert for Oklahoma State, who, again, they wanted Arizona State, but that is a program that was left in shambles. They're not playing for bowl eligibility because of the sanctions. So this one's truly intriguing to me, especially given that the Cowboys come to Ames next weekend.
Wasn't Oklahoma State's win total like 4.5?
6.5.
Oh, was that high? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, 6.5.
I'm sorely mistaken.
Williams, so I thought you gave up on Gundy.
I have, and that's why I think that they could lose this week.
Okay.
Like, I don't, and even if they do, I've watched this team a lot, and I don't think they're very good. I think that he's a little bit Dabo going on, where you fought the system for so long, and now it's coming back to bite you.
Okay.
Next for me is one we already hit on, Penn State at Illinois.
That's where big noon kickoff is going to be.
Really?
So there's going to be extra juice in the building.
Well, I mean, Bielema's going to get this team better, right?
Illinois has looked terrible.
Yeah, they looked horrible last week. Now, in their defense,
they looked horrible in week 1. They skated by, but they almost lost to, who was it?
Toledo. Yeah.
I thought
they looked really bad against Kansas. It's just a weird, tricky spot for Penn State.
I thought Big Noon was at Colorado again.
The show is at it's different. So the show is at.
Do they have 2 sites?
Yeah, they're doing the 2-site thing.
This is the Big Noon game.
Yes.
I think Big Noon kickoff is at the pregame show. I think is at Colorado.
They've split it this week.
That game's on ESPN at 10.
Yeah. Then in this one with Penn State playing Iowa next week, we're all going to have a heightened sense of what's going on in Champaign. It just
I
feel like
I hope Penn State
Bielema
kills them.
Yeah, I would too if I'm an Iowa fan. But doesn't this just feel like a spot where if they have the players to do it, and we don't know yet, but Illinois could just ugly the shit out of this thing. Yeah.
This could be one of those games this week.
Yeah, where they just suck the life out of the clock and you have a fired up crowd.
Liv Hardwin says this would be in my top 3 games of the week not to watch. Look, Liv Hardwin, you got to look at the slate, man. There's like
it's brutal
nothing
out
there.
It's brutal out there. And then you got Colorado State at Colorado. Hear me out here. I'm not just plopping on the Dion train.
Are they playing this in Boulder or in Denver? Because oftentimes they'll play this in Denver at Invesco or Mile High.
I'll have Matt look it up. But my general point is if you're Colorado, you're amped up for TCU. The Nebraska game speaks for itself.
Yeah, it's your first home game. Yeah.
This could be a letdown spot. Now,
because you've got Oregon coming up next.
Yes.
This game is in Boulder.
In Boulder, okay.
You know, clearly Colorado has more talent here, but this just do you get up as much for this one after now? You know, you got 2 guys in the top 10 of the Heisman ratings. You've got everybody telling you're ranked. Everybody's telling you how good you are. Coach is mouthing off every chance he gets.
And it is a rivalry game. Like, the fans will get up for it, but these players have come from all over. I mean,
they don't know.
Only been there a few months. They don't know about this rivalry.
So there you go.
It hasn't been much lately.
Right. Keep an eye on that one.
All right, my 3, beginning with Minnesota at North Carolina. I worry that Drake May is just going to have a day and Minnesota won't be able to keep up. But Minnesota's the only other team in that division besides Iowa that hasn't lost yet. I want to know what they can do against a pretty good team. North Carolina did not look good last week. I mean, they needed overtime to beat App State at home. So interested. It's -8. I would take North Carolina just because the explosiveness of that offense compared to Minnesota's. So that's my first one. Second game to watch. Washington at Michigan State. Washington is 8th in the country. They are 16-point favorites at Michigan State. We know what's happened with that program this week. Mel Tucker suspended. But it's going to be a good atmosphere. It's a Big Ten team. This could be one of those games, too. We were looking for upsets.
Yeah, us against the world.
Mm-hmm. You never know how teams respond. Sometimes they respond in a big way when adversity strikes, and it certainly did. So that's a game that I'm really interested in watching. And lastly, the Backyard Brawl.
Awesome.
I'm going to be there calling this one for college football Saturday night on Learfield. Look, these teams are not very good. Okay, they've already lost. Neither team has beaten an FBS team yet this season, but it's basically a pick 'em. West Virginia, we've got them as a 1.5-point favorite at home. This is the first time the Backyard Brawl has been played in Morgantown since 2011. This game has been sold out for months, and everything I'm hearing is that fans believe it's going to be the wildest atmosphere they have ever seen at that stadium. That is how important this rivalry is. They cannot wait. It's going to be wild, and it almost makes it better to me that they're 2 kind of bad teams.
I'm jealous. I love Morgantown.
I can't wait
Their
to see it.
fans are
I
awesome.
haven't been to Morgantown. I haven't been to that stadium. I mean, they have great fans there. It's a great home atmosphere, and they're saying that this is going to be crazy.
That stadium, little trivia for you.
I know this. I know what you're going to say. They modeled it after Jack Trice Stadium.
Yeah, the same architecture. Like, I'm pretty sure the same guy designed it.
They modeled it after the Jack.
Yeah, really cool.
I wonder. I'm going to have to find out if they sell alcohol throughout the entire stadium, though.
Oh, they do. I guarantee.
Also, I'm pretty sure, because I've been listening to podcasts, try to get ready for the game. So keep that in mind. If somebody's calling an Iowa game, they might pull up the two guys named Chris to prepare for the game. They have an NIL beer as well.
Yeah.
They sell it in the stadium. And
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Goes, well, yeah. Well, it would, wouldn't it? I don't know why Iowa State doesn't do it.
Oh, that's cool.
Country Roads Trust Lager.
I want to do this.
Ooh, I got to get one of those.
I just don't know how to go about it. I want to collect these NIL beers. Like the cans. How cool would that be?
Is it even possible for you to collect all the Iowa State NIL beers? There's like 15 of them already.
Well played.
Hey, Hassel, do you, for college football Saturday night, do you guys get to flex games? So during the season, if there's a good matchup that comes, do you guys get to set that? Or do you
they set the first three, they pick the first three, and then they wait. We will always wait till 10 days out to pick the game. So, we didn't know what game we were going to do next week until a couple days ago.
Where are you going?
Going to Oregon. Oregon
Ooh.
hosting Colorado.
That'll be sweet.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if Colorado's going to be able to hang with them. If the line's going to be 2 touchdowns.
A future Big 10, Big 12 matchup there.
Yeah, it's funny. Even preparing for the game, I started putting my notes and stuff together in my note sheet where I'll put the conference and all that. I put Big 12 for Colorado without even thinking.
Big 10, baby. That'll be a lot of Iowa and Iowa State fans will be talking shit about that one, I'm sure.
Man, next week, the slate of games is incredible.
Yeah.
I wish we could flex a couple of them to this week because it is amazing next week.
I'm pretty pissed because I'm home this week. I'm not going to Athens. Screw that. And it's I can actually watch other games, and it's yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going to be – so that Oregon-Colorado game is 12:30 local time out in Eugene. That's a 3:30 Eastern time kick. So I'm going to be driving to the airport during the Iowa-Penn State game. It's like a 2-hour drive. I have to drive to Portland. And so I'll be listening to that game on the radio. I'll be listening to old Dolph and Eddie.
Yeah, Oregon's really interesting. I've called a game in Corvallis before, and I've called games in Portland. And, yeah, you kind of – everything happens out of Portland, and then you're in a ride. The ride from you don't realize, too, how close Eugene and Corvallis are to one another.
Oh, right. Yeah, because they are, yeah. And they're
it's basically
50 miles from the coast.
It's like driving from – South Des Moines to Ames or whatever. It's not that far at all. When we played in Corvallis, we stayed in Eugene because Corvallis just didn't have many hotels and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, this week we're not even staying in Morgantown. We're staying in some podunk town 20 miles south of Morgantown.
There's not many hotels in Morgantown. There's one really big
towns,
one.
Man. So weird.
Yeah, it's wild. Normally, I'm pretty sure when football goes there, they stay in Pittsburgh, I believe, and then they just bust down.
That's what I would do if I had it my way. I'd probably just stay in Pittsburgh and then drive the hour and a half to Morgantown and go back to Pittsburgh. I'm not sure.
So you fly into Pittsburgh?
Fly into Pittsburgh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Rent a car.
All right.
Down.
Circa Sports Iowa. Remember them for all of your sports betting needs coming up this weekend. You want to get the best lines on the best games. Download our app, Circa Sports Iowa, as we're going to do each and every Thursday this year. Hassel and I are going to give you our Circa Survivor and Circa Millions 5. We did not do well in Millions.
It's got to get better this week against the spread. We were horrible, and my 2 picks were just brutal. I mean, I went with the Bears and the Commanders. Neither one of them came. So these are our picks for this week.
Yeah, we're probably on.
We're going with 4 favorites again.
Yeah, we're probably on too many favorites here. Just looking at it, but here we are. We're going to take the Giants, and basically we're betting right on a bounce back after that getting demolished by the Cowboys, and they're playing the worst team. They're playing the worst team in football, so we like the bounce back spot. Colts would have covered last week had they not had an injury at quarterback.
They played pretty well against Jacksonville, who Jacksonville may end up with the number 1 seed in the AFC. So I liked what I saw from the Colts. Anthony Richardson is supposed to play. He's supposed to be fine after he got banged up late in that game. They're at the Texans, right?
Yes.
CJ Stroud against Anthony Richardson. Colts -1.5 is the pick.
We like the Falcons at home against the Packers, fading the hot team that the public is all over, which is
and I think
Green
the
Bay.
Falcons might be the best team in that division. I think it's between the Falcons and the Saints. Even though the Bucs won at your Vikings.
We're going to roll the dice with the Bills at 9.5. It seems like a lot of points. You usually just automatically take points in this spot, but it just feels to me like everybody's talking about how bad they are with Josh Allen, right? Like this is a get focused week against the Raiders. That's the read we're taking.
Raiders are not a playoff team. That should be a get right game for Buffalo.
And then we couldn't really decide on a fifth.
I thought we were going to go Saints -3 at the Panthers.
Oh, we did.
What in the hell?
Which one did I screw up? The Browns?
Either the Browns or either the Browns or the Falcons. Those were the two iffy ones.
Let's take the Browns out. Yeah, okay. You're right. I sent them wrong to Van Winkle. I haven't submitted them yet, so don't worry.
Okay. So take out the Browns. We're going to go with Saints -3 at the Panthers.
I need to write that down. Yeah, I just texted him wrong. Sorry about that, Maddie.
All right, we got it. Let's just go 3-2 this week. Let's get.
We just need to tread water.
Get the momentum going.
That's the key. I did go 3-2 in my other one with Jason Luch, so we're still just hanging around. We can get back. It's a long season, brother.
Yeah,
it's a long season. Let's go.
We're still surviving. We're still surviving.
Circa Survivor, we are taking Buffalo against the Raiders. We had contemplated the Cowboys against the Jets, and we contemplated the Giants if we really wanted to roll the dice. Chris, I just like taking sure things each and every week, and then you deal with it when you get there. I am not a looking 5 weeks down the road type guy with these things.
Yeah, the reason we went with Buffalo over, say, the Cowboys, and it's the lines are identical. Buffalo -9.5, Cowboys -9.5. Cowboys are playing the Jets. The Jets are still a potential playoff team even without Aaron Rodgers. Like the Jets still have really good players. The Raiders are not the Jets. Like, give me the team that's playing the worst team. Give me Buffalo. Do you see a scenario that Buffalo? I'm not even going to say it.
Not coming off of a loss. The only scenario is if, Josh Allen in that press conference, like he really beat it. Like if he's just like broken, which I don't foresee being
They're going to come out. They're going to stomp the Raiders. Come on now.
I think so too. So there you go. There are Circa contest picks for the upcoming weekend. I also want to give a shout out real quick to our friends at the Iowa Event Center. A couple big announcements this week. WWE Raw. I believe tickets go on sale to that today. Coming up on December the 18th, 6:30 start. I'm going to hopefully be there, and the goal is for me to bring a couple of listeners with me.
We're going to sit behind the announcers again?
Old school Maddie Van Winks.
Have you seen the post about how Britney Spears is built like Chris Jericho?
No.
Van Wink, just search on Twitter, Britney Spears Jericho. I think you're going to find this pretty funny.
And then Adam Sandler is coming to town, too.
I saw it last night.
I saw that.
Yeah, what's Sandler doing? Is he singing?
He's doing stand-up comedy coming to Des Moines, which would be awesome.
Because he sings, too.
I'm sure he'll do some of those like singing bits in it, yeah. But that's really cool. That's coming up.
Great.
And then last but certainly not least, did you see the aliens in Mexico? Did you see this whole deal?
The like 2 foot tall little things?
How do you explain this? I texted my buddy Matty Erdman, he's like a PhD biochemist type dude, and he's always downplaying the aliens. And I texted him this yesterday, and I said, "What do you have to say now, science boy?" And I never got a response. These are aliens. How do you explain this? These are aliens that they found in Mexico, and it's coming to light now.
Williams, it looks just like E.T. They claim that they're thousands of years old and they found them in a mine. They're this big. Like they're like a foot or two tall. Did you see the guy that was holding on to one and placing it into that little coffin thing? He had it in one. He was like holding it between his index finger and his thumb. It was.
What do you think it is,
small.
Chris? What do you think it is?
This is a child's paper mache art project.
Yeah, you can make something like that.
There's always, you people, there's always an excuse. You're always got, well, you know, it's a paper mache. Well, but you never bring any proof to the table. I'm looking.
You bring proof to the table.
I'm physically looking at the proof. It's right there.
Look, Elton
It's
Dean
an alien.
Roush. Elton Dean Roush says that the Twitter fact checker called it a hoax.
Yeah, and then there was a different one. This is the different one.
What do you mean
the
a different
previous one was called a hoax. This is not. These are real. You know what, Elton Dean Roush? Quit bringing fake news to my show.
Brent says, is that alien in a Fareway meat box? What if I opened up a Fareway meat box and there was one? Because you could fit that thing is like this big. You can fit it inside a Fareway meat box. What do you think alien placenta tastes like?
Probably a lot like cow placenta.
I bet it's out of this world.
Maybe a little bit gooier. Out of this world. Good one.
Williams, come on. The thing is a foot long. It's like a Subway sandwich.
I just don't understand how, like, again, this is always my argument.
What's it been doing for 1,000 years? Okay, listen.
You people
right. It's
always
1,000 years old. Okay,
you people always do this.
Listen to me. It's 1,000 years old, they say. What have the aliens been doing for the last 1,000 years? No one. They haven't come back.
No, they just dug them up. They were digging around.
They said it's 1,000 years old.
Yeah, because you can test those thingamajigs. You put the little thing on it.
If they were here 1,000 years ago,
it's just like when we go digging for like old pyramids and shit.
Don't you think they would have taken over this place by now?
No, I think that they were here, and I think that they looked at humans and were like, these things are idiots.
I think
we don't want anything to do with them, and they took off, and these guys got left behind. That's what I think happened.
Zach thinks that the cow placentas, the steaming cow placenta, might be attracting the aliens to Earth.
If you were an alien and you stopped, like, think about it this way. We are as dumb as society has ever been right now. Just look around. Look around. Get on your Facebook page, okay? Get on your Facebook feed and read what your friends and family are posting. This is as dumb as we've ever been. Do you think the aliens want to hang out with us now?
But that alien was here 1,000 years ago. Why didn't they come back
got
before
left
then?
Behind. Yeah, these are really smart creatures. They're like, we don't want to associate with these people. We're getting the hell out of here. We're going to go look for the next place in the universe.
Well, that doesn't jive with everything you've been saying the last few months about, well, they're here. See, there's a UFO right there. They're in that
They're
spacecraft.
looking around.
If they didn't care about us, what are they doing here? You're scooting around. Give me a break. And by the way, did you see that Clarinda Academy is receiving votes in the Iowa football poll?
That can't be right. Yeah, I saw it, but there's
they
no way
got two votes. Someone sent us that on Twitter. Are you trying to cover up the fact, apparently, that Clarinda Academy not only is still open, but they're still playing football?
I would personally like to know who's voting on it, because it does not exist. I mean, I was out there golfing a couple months ago. The academy's done. The haunted MHI is still there.
It is. 8-man football, Clarinda Academy.
They don't have
others
a school.
Receiving votes. They got 2 votes along with Marengo, Iowa Valley, and Lenox.
Lenox is a former power. All right, let's get out of here. Tyler had a great point. How do these extremely smart characters leave 2 buddies behind?
You're out of your mind. You're taking some...
You are so arrogant. You can't even see past things. Open your mind, man. Open your mind. Enjoy Morgantown. I bet you there's some alien believers walking around Morgantown on Friday night.
I can't wait to get $1 draft beer in West Virginia.
Like they actually have some good craft beer there.
Think of how hard it is to raise NIL money off the beer they're selling when they're selling it for $1.
You got to sell a lot of beer.
That's 15 cents to the NIL fund for every beer you sell.
And there's not exactly a, ton of billionaire boosters at West Virginia either, I'm guessing. Mm-hmm. He's Chris Hassel, Maddie Van Winkle producing the program as always. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll be back on Monday.